Good morning, this is Mr. Morales, and we're talking about page 109, application of exponential functions and regressions. So the first part of our notes is left blank, and I haven't written anything down there because I'm going to leave that up for you to write your own steps for how to find the exponential regression line when we get to it. However, the first part of these notes does not exactly have us find the line just yet. It's more of a review of what we did yesterday. So let's go ahead and get into the scenario. Here we have the starting salary for an office worker at a company is $29,000, and the company awards an annual increase of 6.2%. That would be like a raise, a bonus. Find the following. So using the notation here, I modeled it the same way I did yesterday's notes, and I indicated our initial value. What if we have an increase or a decrease, and we actually have the word increase, so we have addition going on, and our rate, 6.2%. Using the same technique from yesterday, I made our equation. The amount that we're going to make total is based on our initial amount, $29,000, times 1 plus 0.062, which is our rate as a decimal, to the x power. We use x because this scenario does not give us an official time that they want us to check for. It doesn't tell us an exact number of years, 1, 2, 3, or whatever. So here's our general equation. Now what we're going to do is use our calculator, and part B asks us to use an equation to complete the table. And we can make a table with the graphing side of our calculator. So let's get our Inspire. I'm here at the home menu. I like to do everything in Scratchpad, so I'll go over here and click the little calculator icon for Scratchpad. I'll go to the graphing side where I'm asked to enter an equation. My equation editor box should be on top. If for whatever reason when you get to the graphing screen and you don't have this blank box up here, type in menu 3-1 and then the box will appear. So I'm going to use the equation that we derived from above, and it is our initial amount, $29,000, parentheses 1 plus 0.062, because that's our rate of increase, to the, and remember to raise anything to a power, press the caret key, which is below the equal sign, it looks like a rooftop, and then x power, and I'm going to press enter. When I do that, there is a graph, it's just out of view, but I don't care, I don't need the graph. What I want is to make a table. So I'm going to rely that the graph is somewhere there and just type in Control T for my table, and there's my values. So starting with, I'll go up 1 unit, and to 0, there's my initial value. The truck starts off at $29,000. Excuse me, the truck. I'm using another example. The salary you make is at $29,000. And then at each year, if the rate stays the same, this is what progressively you would make each year, and that would be your new salary. So go ahead and use those table of values to complete your table. When you've done that, your table should look more or less like this, if you did it correctly. Be careful because it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, it skips 4, it goes 5, 6, and then jumps to 10 again. So don't just go right in order. Remember, you're paying attention to your x values and your y values. Great, so once you've done that, you are now next asked to use the table to make a graph. So I went ahead and I graphed these points. When you first make your graph, you notice on the y values you only have 5s and 0s. Since our lowest or initial value was 29,000, I started our graph on the left-hand side at a value of 25,000. And I went up 25,000, 30, 35, 40, 45, and up by 5,000 increments until I got to my top value of $75,000. Now, I went ahead and graphed the points from the table onto this graph, and they are here in red. They are approximations, because obviously I cannot get some of these fine detailed numbers when I'm counting by 5,000s in this little space. So I did my best to approximate. And then a little trick for you guys, to get my nice curve that I got there, I actually took a little piece of ruler that I have that's kind of bendable. Your ID might work. And I went ahead and just lined up my first point and my last point to get a nice little curve there. Then I took a pen with my third hand apparently and made the curve there. You may have a friend help you with this if you can't hold it with one. And that's just how I traced it, but go ahead and just freehand your curve after you graphed your points. So now that you have that, you should have a nice graph, relatively speaking. And we can go on and to our next part of our video, which is actually doing the regression line. So this is basically a review from yesterday, taking what we learned, making a table, making a graph. Now we get to the good stuff. And we are asked to find exponential functions for the tables below. Now here, to do this, it's actually pretty easy. Yes, it is very quick to copy and answer from the screen. but I'm going to show you step by step how to legit get these answers. So I'm going to start with our first table of values that we have right here for part A, and I'm going to show you how I get that equation. So I was on my screen in Scratchpad, which I don't really need anymore, so I'm going to go back to my home screen. I'm going to press 1 for new document. I never save whatever it asks me to, so click on no, and then I have my list of options. Let's go ahead and go to list and spreadsheets now, number 4. On the top of the A column, let's call that X. On the top of the B column, let's call that Y. And then in the X column, starting in cell number 1, I'm going to put all these X values, -1, 0, 1, 3, 5. And then I'm going to go back up to the Y column in cell 1. I'm going to put in the Y values, 0.25, 0.5, 1, 4, and 16. Make sure after you put in your last value that you go ahead and press enter. Do not leave that last box highlighted. Otherwise, it won't calculate for you what you want correctly. So now that I have this, I need to go ahead and get the parts of the equation of the line that I need. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and go to menu, 4 for statistics, 1 for stat calculations, and then if you look on the very bottom of your screen, it says A, exponential regression. We are in exponential functions right now. So go ahead and either scroll down to A or just press letter A on your keypad. And it asks you, what do you want for the X list? You type in X. What do you want for the Y list? You type in Y. And then go ahead and use the cursor or scroll down, whatever you do, and go to OK. Click on that. And then it says regression equation. A times B to the X power. That's what's in the blue box there. That's how you read that. So that's what I had here on my notes. It's going to give us all our equations as Y equals A to the times B in parentheses to the X power. All right, and it tells me what my A and my B are. It says A is equal to 0.5, which is also whatever your 0 value is for X. So if you know that, you know your A. You really don't need the calculator for that part if you have a good table with 0. But nevertheless, in parentheses is the B value, which is this number 2 right here. And then automatically we just put to the X, because everything's going to be to the X power. So that's it. It's pretty easy. Let's try this again for the second one now, for part B. So there's the equation I should be getting. Let me go ahead and verify it now. So I'll go back to the home key. I'll press 1. I won't save. And I'm going to go ahead and go to 4, list and spreadsheets. And just like before, A column is X, B column is Y. My X values are 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Nice and easy to type in. My Y values are 3, 12, 48, 192, and 768. Whoops, my bad. I joined those there. Went a little too fast. So it's 3, 12, 48. There we go. 192. And then 768. And then once I leave that last cell, it's menu, 4, 1, letter A for exponential. X list is X. Y list is Y. Go down to OK. And it says my equation, Y equals A to the BX. So I'm going to focus this in a little better. It's still bright. I try to dim it, and then it gets bright again. Let me see if I make this a little dimmer. A little better. There we go. So my A is 3, which I already knew because I had the 0 value for X. So A times B, which is 4, to the X power. So that's how you get your regression equations. All right, let's go ahead and finish up our notes and go to the back side, page 110. So for page 110, here is our scenario. Let me go ahead and put it in view so you can actually see it. Feel free to follow along. The number of stores opened by a coffee company can be modeled by the exponential function graphed on the grid, where X is the number of years since 1992. So we have coffee stores on this graph being modeled here. So it begins, year 0 is 1992, and every year afterwards. That's going to be, what, 1992, 2002, 3, 4, so on and so forth.